Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Christian Yordanov. He is an author, health consultant, and educator, and he's certified functional diagnostic nutritional practitioner. Welcome to the show, Christian.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Pleasure to be here.
You are welcome to the show, and I'm sure a lot of people, not just in India, but a lot of people will benefit from this across the globe because we are talking about addressing chronic health problems in a natural manner. First, to understand from you, I've read that out, certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. To break this down, help the audience understand who exactly is Yordanov in terms of suggesting about health issues, and why should we listen to him? Who exactly, so that they can exactly know the person in terms of giving some health advice.
Sure. So, as you said, I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and what's interesting is that since functional diagnostic nutrition was established in 2008, now we actually have medical doctors that are doing a part of the course to learn how they can use the lab tests that we use for their patients to help their patients truly get better, as opposed to just covering symptoms, masking symptoms. So they've come a long way, the organization, in the last 15 years. And basically, uh, what what I learned in my time learning functional diagnostic nutrition is how to use lab testing to understand how the body is functioning in various ways. So usually when you go to the doctor, you get the structure of the body analyzed. They can do scans and various things. Like if you have a gut problem, they can stick a tube up you or down your throat looking for things. So they're evaluating the structure. And when they can't pinpoint a structural abnormality causing the problem, they can call it a functional disorder. For example, irritable bowel syndrome, things like that, right? So with the functional paradigm, we evaluate the function of the body, and we use lab testing, urine, hair, um, stool testing for pathogenic organisms and things like that. And once you understand where the function of the body is not up to scratch, that is where you can intervene with diet supplementation, stress reduction, exercise, things like that, in order to improve that function. And usually when you do that, the person gets better and symptoms start to go away. And since I became certified as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, I've published one book. It's all about autism and children's health. I published that in 2020 in March. And I am actually, at the moment, I just started working on my second book, which will be more for adults. It will be called something along the lines of Shortcuts to Better Health, Longevity, and Mental Performance, Volume 1. I plan it to be maybe a series. So that's a little bit about me, Ajay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Christian. In terms of, he said about lab tests. Now, isn't that what a lot of, doctors do it today? Whichever health facility you go to, the first thing they do is the tests. Earlier on, they used to look at your other parameters they, without before asking for any test. I want to understand, how are your lab tests different than the normal lab tests that doctors order for whatever you go for your diagnostic, even in internal medicine or general practitioners you go to.
Yeah. So usually when you go to the doctor nowadays, they have a very limited set of tests that are usually covered by insurance that they run first. They look at complete blood count, maybe liver enzymes. Sometimes they check a couple of thyroid markers. So generally with those tests, doctors are good at catching some things like various types of anemias and stuff like that. Um, but they're not exactly very for example, on a blood test, you can have markers for inflammation that can be high. So it can show a non-specific marker of inflammation but that could be high because you were stressed that day, because you didn't sleep well, or you have a parasites or
Okay.
some type of more serious disease potentially. So a lot of those markers are can be very non-specific, right? And usually they run very few things. Unless you have a serious health problem, then they might start running more specialized tests. So the way we do it is we look at more, again, we look at more things spanning the metabolism. So we have this very interesting hormone test that you collect at home. You just pee on a few pieces of paper, you dry them, let them dry, put them in a flat pack envelope, send it back to the lab. And with that, we can see how you are excreting cortisol throughout the day. So your cortisol is your main sort of stress hormone. It's supposed to help you wake up in the morning, to keep your blood sugar stable. So we can check, is your cortisol elevated at any point of the day that's too much? Is it too low during the day? So it's a much more complex test than seeing a moment in time with blood. With that test, we can also see things like your sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone, all the different metabolites. We can see different organic acids that can show us vitamin B status, antioxidant status, things like that. So it's a much more actionable set of markers. If we see cortisol is very high, we know what we need to do. We need to reduce your stress. We need to figure out what is causing that stress. If your cortisol is very high at night, for example, for many people, it's as simple as a blood sugar problem. Maybe a lot of people nowadays are doing low carbohydrate diets, thinking they can stay slim, lose a bit of weight. It's everybody's doing it, so it must be good for you. But those people, if you do low carbohydrate, you're actually using your stress hormones to keep your blood sugar stable, right? So if you eat a low carbohydrate meal and then your cortisol is up at night, we are going to catch that. And when we catch that, and if it's not, let's say the blood sugar, let's say you're eating enough carbohydrates, then it could be a gut infection. So there's a lot of clues we get. And then other tests we can look at, for example, there's a very good urine test we collect, that we do. You collect it at home, and we can check if you have gut problems like candida or yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth. We can check B vitamin deficiencies, which are very rarely checked for by doctors, right? It's a very, you have to have quite a lot of health problems for them to decide, oh, let me check your if you have a gut infection or something like that. So we can catch a lot of antioxidant deficiencies, energy production problems early, and then do something about them to keep those kind of cycles in the body moving the right direction without blockages. And then it's kind of more preventative as opposed to wait for a symptom, that maybe diagnose a disease and then treat the symptom and hope the person kind of goes away and is better, instead of figure out what is underneath the surface of the water, causing the problems up at the top of the surface, and then try to do things that are improving the function of the body, and then the function will improve itself, and then whatever was at the surface symptom wise starts to generally improve most of the time.
Right, right. I want to understand for the audience, your clients or your patients, if I may use them, who when do they come to you normally? Is it before they go to other doctors, or in the normal sense, okay, into a hospital or private practitioners, or do they generally come after that system has not helped to help them?
You exactly what you just said, the second part. So unfortunately, we are still battling to educate the general person out on the street, as it were, about the importance of diet lifestyle in order to prevent the health problems that many of us are supposedly going to suffer from: cancer, heart disease, atherosclerosis, stroke. All of these things are a result of decades of diet and lifestyle choices. Most of it is not genetic, which is unfortunately being propagated in the mainstream, that these things are genetic and we don't have a choice in the matter. So to answer your question, most of the people nowadays that come to me generally are in a pretty advanced level of dysfunction, let's say, and usually have been very poorly, if at all, helped by the system out there. Usually they, at best, they do nothing for you, and at worst they make it worse. with too many other things that kind of disbalance you. So more and more though, I'm finding people as I do more podcasts and I get out there, more and more people that are in a good state of health are coming, say, I want to see if something is not optimal and optimize it. And it's really fun working with those people. But yeah, some of my more sort of regular clients, we have a lot, usually we start with a lot of things that are not going well for them, and it's a big project to kind of bring them back into balance.
Absolutely, absolutely. So most of these people who are in a difficult state, if I may call so, or have not uh, been, able to take the full advantage of for the medical system that we have for whatever reasons, when they come to you, what is your outlook that you look at them with? Because that system has looked at them with whatever knowledge they have got, with whatever equipments they have got, with whatever tests that they have got. What is it that differentiates you with the way you look at them? And secondly, what are the chronic health issues that you generally look at? That okay, these are the things that I can take care of. And the most important thing is diagnosing the issue there in a holistic manner.
Yeah, in fact, I don't believe diagnosing a specific issue is that important. I believe the
Okay.
most important thing is when a person comes to you, and usually they either have gut problems of some kind, or sleep problems, or very often fatigue, low energy, loss of libido, symptoms of hormone imbalances, and these things are very connected, right? If you have fatigue, it probably means you're going to have some type of hormone imbalances. You're probably not going to be doing a lot of other things well in your life. You just don't have the energy, so it causes a lot of imbalances down the line. So my always my intention is to help the person get back to restore their health to the way it was before this started happening. The Again, what we were already discussing is very often these people are coming to me 5, sometimes 10, 15 years later, or after the issues started occurring. So it's a quite a if it takes you 15 years to get into a state of ill health, we can't expect always. Sometimes it can happen, but you can't always expect in 6 to 12 months to restore yourself. Plus remember, you've aged 15 years, so you will never probably be back in that. Let's say you're 30, you're 50 now, and 15 years ago you were healthy and now you're unhealthy. Even if we restore you to optimal health for you, it will still be optimal health for 50 years of age, not for 35 years of age. So but my goal and intention is always to help the person get back to their potential that is for their current age. And to do that, again, without necessarily diagnosing a problem, because that's not the job. That's the job of a doctor, a medical doctor. They diagnose and treat symptoms most of the time. But as health consultants, we look at a person and we evaluate what could be contributing to that person's state of health or real health. And it's very simple
Okay.
things: diet, lifestyle, sleeping, supplements. Stress levels is a huge one. Where they live. If you live in the middle of a big city, air pollution is going to be a big problem contributing to health problems. So we evaluate all those things, and then we devise a plan in partnership with the person. So we're always working together as a team. And my role is that of a kind of an educator or a guide. I'm not healing you. You heal you. You're a self healer, and I'm just telling you, let's fix the sleep this way. Let's address diet this way. Let's start incorporating stress reduction practices. Let's employ these supplements. Let's change these foods for those foods gradually over 6 to 12 months. And invariably, if the person if we're still in a state where they're not super progressed, like we're not talking about like a terminal diagnosis they had or something like that. If they're still in a state where there's vital reserve in the body, if the body wants to be alive and wants to heal, which it will do into their 80s, 90s, and even probably the hundreds of years of age. It's just there's always this desire to heal. That's why even an older person, if they cut their finger, they might heal slowly, but they will
Right.
heal eventually. If they break a bone, they will heal eventually. So it seems like while we are alive, we always have this desire to reach homeostasis and optimal health for us. So um, we always get some progress, even with a very debilitated person. It will always improve in some way, shape, or form. Usually, like I said, it's people with gut problems, fatigue, things like that. But I recently started working with some people that had a previous cancer diagnosis. It's cured now, according to their doctors, but we're helping them in other ways to just general health practices. I just started working with a lady with multiple sclerosis. So no issue that's not terminal is too complex and too late that we can't at least make some improvement in the person's general health.
Right, right, Christian. So, in your understanding, you look at this whole holistic sense, the body, how it is functioning, what is causing the problem, and you are not actually treating them, you are helping them treat their body naturally. So, in that sense, what have you understood of the body that people are having nowadays? What is the issue? Is it the toxins? Is it that we have losing our immunity? For whatever we have been doing with whatever we are consuming, either in terms of medicines or in terms of whatever is food. What is your understanding, and how should people look at their body? Because we seem to almost abuse it, and even if you don't, if we even if you don't, there is the market force which is taking care of that part of that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that is
yeah,
where people must know what to be careful of, how they can, because everyone will not be able to come to you. They can either listen to this podcast, they can listen to other podcasts that you go to, they can come to your website, but still you will be only able to touch only uh, say 1,000 people, 5,000 people, a lakh of people, as much as you can try.
yeah, yeah. That's why the goal is to have more practitioners and educate the regular person about all these things that we should, I think, ideally learn in school, or at least our parents should know. So they should teach us. So I feel like the next generation of parents, the younger kids now, maybe in their teens or early 20s, if we get to them, we could transform the next generation. So I think that's one of my goals is how can we reach the people having kids now, because that's a real place we can make a positive dent. So it's a good question, Ajay, and I think you already touched on many of the things that are actually causing these problems. So first of all, the body, like the more I see people with very complex health problems that took years and years and sometimes decades to develop, how quickly they bounce back from those, it's nothing short of a miracle. The human body, that we are able to withstand so much abuse, and now this abuse is starting from before we're even born. And I don't mean abuse like it's not intentional all the time, but even when
Right.
you're a fetus in your mother's womb, you're being exposed to the toxins that she is exposed to, from the plastics, the metals, all the different chemicals in the food, so in the water as well. So then you're born and you have a very weak immune system, and you're getting even the first 6 months, which your immune system is extremely weak. You are still getting a barrage of toxins into your body, and somehow these kids, they're growing and they're developing. And yes, we're seeing a lot of autism, we're seeing a lot of other childhood conditions. So the body is resilient, but in the modern environment it's just become so polluted, and the food supply is so compromised that we're starting to see more and more kids succumb to this. But in spite of all of these toxins, we seem like kids now are still growing into adulthood, and they're still fertile and everything else. The trend is not going the right direction. That's the problem. That's why we have to work on this very hard. But from what I've seen from the recoveries people make, and from speaking to other practitioners, even in advanced stage, no matter, again, I'm not advocating you wait that long or anybody wait that long, but even if you're like in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you've had a lifestyle of being exposed to toxins and eating sort of not the right foods and junk food, and living in a polluted city, you still have with enough sort of tools like detoxification strategies, gut health strategies, good food, rest, stress reduction. With enough of those, if you put your energy in those, you can really uh, sort of detox all these things or most of these things, and be in optimal health even in your 50s, 60s, etc., even after a lifetime of poor health. It's just a testament to the sort of this desire for the body to be well. So I think it's never too late. I think a lot of people, maybe they've given up. It's like, oh, I've been living like this 30 years, I might as well just continue, because it's too late now. I can't save myself. And I think that is not the right way to look at it. You will always be able to improve on your health at any stage of your life, basically.
Right, Christian. So what do? I don't eat anything from outside. I grow my
Mm.
own food. Is that possible in today's time? What is it that I can do easily, and so that I'm able to take care of my health in a natural way?
Well, when something is easy, there must be something else that has to be not so easy. In terms, so if something is easy and free and cheap, it's the best thing, right? But if something is easy, usually there's a cost to it. So, for example, if you don't want to take all the vegetable and seed oils out of your diet, let's say you eat in restaurants or you eat takeaways, or they're a big part of your diet, um, what is easy to do is to buy a very good full spectrum vitamin E supplement, and take vitamin E to protect your body from the toxic effects of these polyunsaturated fatty acids. So it's easy, but there's a cost to it, right? Then to improve your detoxification for system, first you need to reduce the toxins that you're exposed to. So if you live in a big city, moving out might not be an option for most people. So it's not easy to do, but it's easy to order maybe some supplements that can help to boost your detoxification system. For example, glycine, excuse me, the amino acid, um, things like that. So uh, some things can be done, but there's a cost to them. So that's why my next book is called Shortcuts to Better Health, Longevity, and Mental Performance, because there's a right way to do things in the long term that I will talk about in the book. But for the people in the modern world that are busy, that have kids or a business or a busy job, we need to front load that process. We don't have the luxury of waiting for 1 year for this new lifestyle change for to take it's to run its course to get the benefits. We don't have the luxury of waiting for 1 year, let's say, of changing our diet. We want to immediately improve our antioxidant status, like with vitamin E, for example. We want to immediately improve our detoxification capacities with glycine, for example. And then once we do that, we may find ourselves we have more energy, and then we have more motivation when we feel better in order to reduce the toxins. Now we have more energy to figure out, how am I going to clean up my environment, how am I going to buy better food, oh, I have to go to another store. But these resources come as you get healthier, and the healthier you get, the more healthy choices you want to make. So the easy things, in my opinion, are um, stopping certain foods as well. If you're going to the store and you're always buying, let's say, bread and something with, let's say, a lot of nuts. I believe actually eating a lot of nuts is not really healthy. So it's easy to stop buying certain foods. At that point, you just have to substitute them with more healthful foods. So these are easy things, but they're a little bit harder than just going online and just ordering a supplement that will help to fill in some gaps. Let's say B vitamin complex for better energy. If you have more energy, you can detox better. You can probably do everything better in your life if you have more energy. So it's a shortcut, but it will have a lot of there's a lot of improvements in your life that will occur, and with that you have more energy in order to further improve your diet and lifestyle.
Right. There is much to learn about these things, Christian, and I'm sure you are doing in that part of the world. A lot of people are doing in almost all parts of the world. For those
Mm.
people who want to learn from you, Christian, what's the best way for them? And also, if they want to, be your client or patient, whatever it is, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, if you just put my name into Google, Christian Yordanov, my website will come up. It's christianyordanov.com, and pretty much everything, all the links are there to my work and my services, courses, books will be on there.
Absolutely, absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Ajay.